Trump's moves on tariffs are being watched closely. For now, they seem to have spared the global economy. Yesterday, the IMF sprang a surprise. The IMF, as you would know, is the International Monetary Fund. It has upgraded its global growth forecast. Earlier, the global economy was expected to grow at 2.8% this year. But the new estimate is 3%. And for 2026, the projected growth rate is 3.1%. Now, a 3% global growth rate is a sign of resilience and modest recovery. But it does remain below the pre-pandemic average of 3.7%. And from 2.8 to 3 may seem like only a marginal increase, yet it is noteworthy, A, because it's an increase despite the chaos, and B, because of the factors that drove this revision.
Global growth has been revised up to 3% in 2025 and 3.1% in 2026, reflecting stronger than expected front-loading, lower tariff rates compared to early April, easier financial conditions, including a weaker US dollar, and fiscal expansion in some jurisdictions.
And that was the IMF chief economist explaining why growth will increase. He mentioned front-loading. What does that mean? What is front-loading? It simply means doing something earlier than you would normally do. And how does it apply to trade? You see, traders often engage in front-loading. When they anticipate a crisis, they stock up in advance. They import large quantities of goods. And in recent months, traders have been doing this. There's been a lot of front-loading. And it's no secret why. This is an attempt to avoid Trump's tariffs. And this has led to a bump in trading activity, which in turn influenced the IMF's ratings upgrade. So that's the first reason behind the revision. The second reason is Trump's decision to delay the tariffs. It saved global trade from sweeping disruption, at least for the time being. Because look at the older IMF projections. 24% tariff on average on all American imports. That was the expectation, 24% average tariffs. But now with delays and trade concessions, the effective tariff rate has come down to 17%. Although it's still higher than before, but it's not as bad as feared. So the worst case scenario has been avoided. Plus, the falling value of the dollar has helped. Thanks to Trump's policies, the US dollar has weakened considerably. It is having a bad year. In fact, the last 6 months were the worst for the dollar in almost 50 years. A falling dollar means losses for investors and a loss of trust in the American financial system. But it also makes debt servicing cheaper. Let me explain how. Say you're an Indian company and you borrowed money from a US bank. This bank gave you a loan in the American dollar, but you sell products here in India, so your earnings are in the Indian rupee. But your loan repayment is still in the US dollar. And now that the dollar is weaker, you may stand to gain. You'll save in the currency conversion. So servicing your loan could become cheaper, all because the US dollar has fallen in value and you're getting more dollars for your rupees. So these are the three reasons: front-loading by traders, delay in Trump tariffs, and the dollar's depreciation. These three factors have contributed to the IMF's upgrade. In fact, they've revised the growth forecast for India too. Again, this is a marginal increase from 6.2% to 6.4%. But all of this also comes with a word of caution.
Risks remain tilted to the downside. A breakdown in trade talks or renewed protectionism could dampen growth globally and fuel inflation in some countries. Persistent uncertainty may weigh on investment, while geopolitical tensions and fiscal vulnerabilities pose additional threats.
A breakdown in trade negotiations, risk of inflation in the developing world, and geopolitical tensions and conflicts like the war in Ukraine and the conflict in Gaza. All of these still pose considerable risk to the global economy. Now, given the many variables, the gains of today may be short-lived. But for the moment, the takeaway is positive. The world has dodged the risks. Let's hope it stays that way.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka karjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Kali radikali. Stop.
Japanese,
$4 trilhão idioma.
Portuguese,
Por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.